Alright, good morning everyone, or afternoon. So, as I mentioned for this stream, I was planning on working with some rocks. I haven't done a lot of sculpting, like not a whole lot, so um, hopefully they'll turn out okay, but if if you know sculpting, you'll do much better at this. So what I'm planning on reproducing is if you used CryEngine before, they have these what they call monoliths, which are some really good looking rocks. So here's an example. There's one of them. Um, and they have a few that come with the engine, and they truly look really nice. Come on. So let me bring on another one. So that's another one. And the nice thing about this is, if we were to look at the textures, let me just pull that up real quick. Let's see, tools, material editor. So let's grab a texture from this guy. So they all share the same texture here, and they start off with. So I played around with it a little bit, did a little bit of different blending. But what they do have is they have the base texture, or the diffuse texture, which is this rock-looking material with the normal. But they also have this, and this is a detail map. And as you can see, there's a bunch of separated pieces. That's because if we look at the tiling for this, the tiling is going to be 8 by 8 because all these monoliths, in this case, they have maybe 7 of them, 6. They're all sharing the same texture space, so that's why they need to tile the diffuse texture to get the detail out of that. But then when they get to the detail texture, which is going to add, so for example, if I turn off the detail shader, you'll see that they still look decent, but it's just plain. There's no dips, and you don't really see the cracks in the high poly that they use to bake that. So let's go back here and turn that thing back on, and you can see the difference. And of course, you can make that even bigger, even stronger. So you get a little bit more of a dramatic effect out of it. So I'm hoping to do something like this today. I mean, of course, it's not going to look as good, but like I said, hopefully you get the idea of working with these detail maps, which are really powerful. So what this gives you is what to me looks like a really good looking asset, and um, you get actually 7 of them sharing the same textures. And I think that's pretty efficient. Nowadays people looking into a bunch of photogrammetry, which is fine. It's totally fine, but um, you'll run out of space real quick because the assets don't look very good when you go to a lower poly count, and then you get these other assets that have, say, maybe moss on them. If they were just plain rock, then it might be fine. You can probably add to the mesh the moss, and just to give it a little bit more of an emphasis. But at least for now, until we have uh, um, video cards that have 12 gigs of memory or something like that, I'll try and use these. Plus, it's a good practice to learn little bit of organic modeling, because these are not easy to do, and it takes some experience. So, which unfortunately I don't have at this point. Alright, so let's get to it. So we'll create, I'm going to try and create maybe 2 or 3 of these. We'll see how they turn out. And then I'm going to start with the high poly in this case. And then add the low poly and do a baking. So what I need to do is just bake the maps in Substance Painter. Because in order to create this detail map, you need a few elements. I was hoping that it might be a little easier to create, but we'll go and look at a little bit of at the docs, and then in Photoshop we'll create this because it takes multiple maps. So you'll see what I'm talking about. All right, so let's minimize this and close that. All right, so this is my first attempt at sculpting a rock, which you know, it's not terrible, but oh well. Let's start fresh. So go into object mode, and I'll show you a couple of tools in Blender that I started using and that I really like. So right now I moved on to 2.78, which is really nice. I mean, it has a few more options than the older ones that you might make good use of, and I think one of them is Alembic. Okay, so let me turn on my screencast keys. Hopefully, hey, I'm wondering if this one actually has it. Let me just quickly look for that. I did not prepare for the screencast, apparently. Blender, let's see, screencast keys. Okay, apparently it's trying to save it to the proper directory. Let's see if this works. Oh. Bear with me for 1 second. Let's try doing this. Install from file. Hopefully this way you'll be able to find it. Items. Dun, dun, dun. Space, 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 space. Maybe that could be one of the issues. Okay, well there's one of the problems. Let's see. Apparently it doesn't like me very much today. Yeah, no, I did, and I don't think it loads. I don't think it loaded that one because I tried to install it from file, and it just didn't like it very much apparently. Yeah, I don't think it's supported in 2.78 Oscar. The version that I'm looking at is at 2.64, and I don't think there's. For some reason, I thought that 2.78 had this added to their existing. Yeah, that's the one that I'm using. Let me check something out. It's kind of weird. Um, yeah, I just downloaded it. Let me. All right, let's try this one more time. Yeah, I think I might have figured it out. There we go. I guess installed from files needed some permissions in my program files that it didn't have. So there we go. Okie dokie. Let's do some rocks. Yeah, thanks, Oscar. Okay, so while doing this, working with these rocks. Oh yeah, yeah. There you go. For those of you that didn't see what I did, I pressed N, and then down here you'll have the option to start or stop display. Okay, so with that out of the way, when I was working on this, what I discovered was the bisect tool, and that's a really yeah, I did. So the bisect tool is really powerful when it comes to cutting things away. Now, that's not to say in 2007-8 you got this cool little feature called difference, and you can cut away things like so, which is really nice. But and I do like it, but for my needs is not as powerful as the bisect tool. So with the bisect tool, once you go into edit mode, you have everything selected. And let's look. I don't have a shortcut for it just yet, but if you type in bisect, and you hold down click and drag a line, what you get is this. You get a cut through all this mesh. So in order to remove that, if you scroll down in the options here, you want to do a fill, and then you want to clear outer. So there you go, you have a nice cut there. And then you can continue on selecting everything. What I do, I press space, then bisect, and delete some more, and moving on with this. So this might happen sometimes. We need to just clear inner. So there you go. So I'm trying to do some cuts to try to get a rough shape for my my rock. And of course, this comes with experience. You'll get better at this if you do it. I'm kind of terrible at it, so that's why this rock looks like a crystal right now. I guess you can start from a sphere, not necessarily from a cube like I did, and just cut away pieces until you're happy with the shape. So I'm using mine for kind of the reference from the CryEngine stuff. So that's why it's kind of looking like this pointy thing. Alright, so there we go. I mean, we have something looking kind of like a rock. What I like to do is actually make these little, see, like where you got these, when you start sculpting, they just might start looking awkward. So trying to get those to be as small as possible, or make them a little bigger, like that. So that's not to say that you can't do this by hand. You just have to be careful that you created faces. Right now this is not a face here, so you got to make sure you have some proper geometry, even if it's angons. But flat faces is what I need. Do some. You can also do this by doing some sliding with the vertices, like so, like that, and that looks kind of awkward. But okay, so that's our starting point for one of them. So what I'll do is let's add a second one. Maybe I'll start from this one and cut some more out of it. Again, just using the bisect tool, cut away that big piece there. Some more right there. Like that. Whoa, there we go. Nah, I don't like it that way. Make sure to remove doubles. Alright, there we go. We got something going here. They kind of started to take shape, so so now it's kind of where I've experimented a little bit with creating these, but I'm not very proficient. So the way I've tried doing it is if you select your object and go into sculpt mode. So I went a couple of ways at this. First of all, I'm using dynamic topology, which is really nice to have, and you know, I'm subdividing edges, constant detail, and I keep this around 2 to 1%, just as far as the details go. Smooth shading, and make sure that what I do is the symmetry lock is always on, so I turn that off because I want to have them a little bit individual, or not the same everywhere. Something to help you with is Madcap, and I usually use this metal color. And right now it's smooth shaded, so that's why you don't see. Let me turn this off. So once I start sculpting with having the dynamic topology on, you'll see that it keeps adding polygons based on the need, basically. So the closer I get, you know, the smaller the polygons, the farther I get, you know. And right now, since I have this constant detail on it, they're all going to be similar or the same. But you get the idea of what I'm trying to do here. So the way I went at this is now I'm not sure if this is the proper way to sculpt a rock, you know, starting off with, but I kind of liked what came out of it. Looking at the way these are set up, you'll notice that if I go into, and let's see, where did I think it's on the display. I wanted to show wireframes. Let's see, what was it? Where were wireframes on this? There we go. So a lot of these start off with some pretty hard edges, and apparently you can't really see it well on the wireframe. But if I were to spin this, you'll notice that these are kind of hard, at least in the low poly. So you kind of have to take that into account. I can see right here, this is some pretty hard edging, and it also looks like there's a seam. So if you see the seam right there. So I mean, that will come with practice, but for now, what I'll do is I'll soften these hard edges using the scrape. So what the scrape does, you'll see that it just takes away, and right now it's a little small, so let's make it a little bigger. So wherever you have these edges, you know, we'll just that's what it does, is it just scrapes it off. So there you go. I actually like doing this. It's kind of fun, and you'll see now if I turn on smooth shading, you'll see that everything looks nice around there because all those polygons got added in. And I do think that having this Madcap turned on, it does help for you to visualize it a little better. So so I'll keep it on for now. So I'm just gonna start scraping off some of these edges, like so. And you'll notice that all those hard edges are gone. Now, probably in the case of those monoliths in CryEngine, they maybe they've done a similar thing, but they went maybe a little smaller with the scraping. I'm not sure. So let's just do this here. Now it's starting to look a little better. So once we're done with this, we'll go into using some of the sculpt brushes. And what I've done is I've downloaded some of the alpha brushes from textures.com. They're really nice, and you know, you can create some nice details with those. so you also want to, like, for example, depending on how complex your rock is, you know, you don't want to have a ton of faces like I do here, especially for you know, the purpose of this stream. I kind of went a little bit overboard, but hopefully it's going to turn out okay. So I'm just continuing on scraping off these edges. You know, trying to give it some kind of a definition here. So you might run into issues like this, and for that I usually switch to the smooth tool, and so there we go. Okay, so this one I think I've done most of the edges. Okay, that seems to be looking alright. Let's do a little bit more around here, like that. Like that. Like I said, again, with practice, you know, even I probably I'll get better at this. But yeah, so I'm trying to, you know, kind of break off these edges that are a little too straight. You know, just going at it in the corners, like so. And you can always switch once this is done. You can switch to the clay strips, and if you hold down, because right now by default it paints up, so, or like outwards. But if you hold down Control, it's gonna paint inwards, or you know, push it in. So you know, maybe use this a little bit here and there. Turn down the strength a little bit, and you know, do a little bit of this here and there. That's a little bit too much. And I mean, Blender's brushes are pretty good, but you know, they're not going to get you all the way there, I don't think. So that's why you might need to use some of the alpha brushes, or you know, like ZBrush is doing basically. So, or you know, somewhat like that. For example, Andrew Price, I believe he has. I don't think he has a pack on his Blender Guru site, and those are things they might actually be brushes, so they're not a texture. You can like select them from over here, but it's a little bit expensive, so I never got around to buying it. So well, so it's starting to take shape a little bit. It's still kind of rough, but let's go ahead and throw in um, those alpha textures. So in order to do that, you need to use the sculpt draw, and then you want a new texture. And let's go back to this panel here and hit new and open my texture. And let's see, they're probably around here. Okay, so there we go. Let's see, what do we want to use? Let's try using this one. It seems pretty kind of rock-like looking thing. Alright, so when I use these, I probably want to go back down to 1%. So see, when you paint it, it starts to look pretty nice. I mean, it looks a little bit more like a rock face. Also, one thing that I want to do is I want to do a random angle. So, because without it, if you look at it, it's, let's see, do like a flat face. So see, they're all placed at the same angle. But if you do random, see, there's that, there's this one. See, they got different angles to it. So, you know, that way you get a little bit more variety. But for this, what I'll do is I'm probably going to have kind of a bigger size brush like so, and then push it inward. So, and then once you go in close, as you can see, for this type of brush, you know, it's and that's probably a little too strong. Let's do the hardness down to 30 or something like that. There we go. So right now I'm just holding down and pressing and painting. And I'm just doing it on the faces, a little bit on these edges. So I do feel that having this matte cap turned on does help. Um, See, now that one turned out pretty nice. I like how that turns out at face. Not all of them did, but oh well. So it is starting to turn more into what I would picture as being a rock. So let's add another texture and maybe add some more variety. I'm hoping this will work. Let's see, what do we want to do? Let's try this one. I like this one. There we go. That looks pretty interesting. Also, the nice thing about nature is that it's so random sometimes, but don't just rely on that. There are some patterns. So alright, there we go. I think I'll call that one good. Let's move on to this one, so that way we can move on to unwrapping and creating our detail maps, or our detail map, because it's only going to be one. Alright, so let's do this one now, and we'll start off. We'll go into sculpt mode, and also I guess you always need to turn on this dynamic topology for some reason. I don't know why. Alright, so let's grab our scrapey toolie and let's scrape away some of this. And see, right now, since I'm at 1%, it adds quite a bit of detail, so we can move on to 2. Um, and scrape away some of these edges. So what I'm also doing is not just going along the edge, but also going a little bit across. So you get these bumps a little bit here and there, like that. Well, I mean, this one actually looks a little bit more like a rock than the other one does, or like a monolith. I guess. All right, so let's go in and throw a little bit of the details in there. So I'll use this kind of shell-looking rock. So let's try something with this. Oh, yeah, always make sure you're into Sculpt Draw, because I was in Scrape and it was trying to scrape with this, which apparently it doesn't like. So let's bump this down to 1%. Make this a little bigger, and see, that actually looks pretty interesting. And the angle, let's turn off random, and we'll try and do like the shell, or not the shell, but those layered rocks kind of thing. So I wish I'd know what this to show what angle I'm at, but I guess I'll have to try it out and see. There we go. That's almost vertical at 55. So let's do it like, I just want to paint once. Why do you keep on painting? There you go. So that's that. Make it a little bigger. That's pretty interesting. So we'll do these kind of a little bit of a bigger details here, and then use some of the one of the other brushes to do some smaller ones. let's switch to this one. And do a little bit of add a little bit of variety here and there, like so. That's one weird looking rock, I have to say. Okay, so that looks like a gold type nugget or something. Okay, good. Let's not spend too much time on this. We got some more stuff to do. Let's just save this real quick and let's save it maybe here. It's gonna be 2 rocks. Okay, let's add the low polys. So let's start off. I might want to start off. I'm gonna try and start off with a UV sphere and use use the shrink wrap to mold it onto this. So this is cube, and this is probably going to be cube 1. So let's do this one first, and shrink wrap cube. So that actually molded to it pretty nicely, I have to say. Not too shabby. Not too shabby. I guess I'll keep it maybe like this. Yeah, I'll keep it like this for now, and we'll see how the bake turns out. Alright, so because one of the issues that I might be facing is this thing at the top, and that's why. Let's try with this one. Start off and we'll add a cube, and again with the shrink wrap modifier and cube 0, 1. So let's add a few edge loops in here, like so, like so, like so. And actually that might be a little better, I think. Yeah, because it will be probably a lot easier to unwrap. And one thing that I did wrong here was, let's try, because right now if I do an unwrap on this, it's gonna look weird, and I will already have all these edge loops in there, so not that it's gonna be hard to select these, but I'm thinking, and I'd like to try this, is if I had the cube from the get-go and mark the seams and unwrap it, and now try to add the shrink wrap, cube 0, 1, keep above surface. So let's add the edge loops, maybe let's do 6 on each side. Whoa, what did I do? Not that many. Okay, so let's see if I apply the shrink wrap now. Yeah, it might. And now let's do the unwrap. There you go. I think that might be a little better. Just to see how it looks, I want to create a new UV grid. And let's do textured solid and turn off matcat. So this Hey Journey, I'm trying to reproduce some of these. I mean, they're not gonna look as good, uh, but I'm trying to do these type of monoliths rocks that um, they're really well optimized for the engine, and they look really good. So I'm showing the way the what do you call it? How to do something like that, and especially if you have experience with sculpting, you know, you'll find that to be a lot easier because they all share the same detail map, and also um, sorry, the same diffuse, which is can be like a really small size texture, but they have um, off of their detail map, they get all these, you know, nice details in there, which you know, if again, if we look at this and see, you get all these nice kind of dips around here, and if I was to turn the detail map off, you'll see that's gonna look kind of bad. So let's just go here real quick. So if you pay close attention to that, if I was to turn off the detail map, see, it just looks very plain. You know, detail map, there you go. And of course you can exaggerate the bump scale on this, which is nice, you know, to get it force it to be a little stronger. So that's what's cool about it. Alright. So I'm thinking right now I might keep um, let's see if I have to shrink wrap again. Yeah, so this is kind of what I was trying to do. Well, not what I was trying to do, but the monoliths in CryEngine, they have those. They're really, you know, kind of sharp edges. Mine is going to turn out a little rounded, which hopefully is going to help with the details. We'll see. So what I'll do is I'll get rid of this sphere. It's not really, it's not the best thing. Um, Come on. All right, so that looks pretty close to my rock. Let's apply this and do the unwrap again. There we go. And of course, this is like the really quick kind of gritty type of way to do it. Probably the way they did it in CryEngine was, you know, they took a little bit more time than, you know, half an hour sculpting and creating the low poly than I did. So now that we have this in place, let's go ahead and I'll join the two low polys and actually move them to a separate layer. So join these together, and let's do a Control P to have all these island maps set up that way. Alright, perfect. And let's make it smooth. Alright, so there we go. We have the low polys, we have the high polys, and now let's go ahead and do the baking. So let's export this, and well, I wanted to make it so that let's create a new directory here. Let's call this stream maybe rocks. Okay, so this is going to be, I'll leave it named as that. So that's the low poly. Let's do the high polys. So it's going to be high poly. And export. So this is going to be somewhat quick. There we go. Alright, so let's go. I use Substance Painter pretty much for everything, and baking things is one of them. Let me just put this to the side here and create a new, and let's select our things. Stream rocks. There you go, 2 rocks. Alright, so I'll do the bake at 2048, and let's bake the textures. I don't need ID, I don't need thickness. And 2048. Alright, we might need to tweak these max frontal distance and rear distance, but let's see how this one turns out. Alright, so there we go. We get some details in there. But as you can tell, they're not all the way through, like especially around here. So we might need to turn that frontal and rear distance up. So let's do a 0.05 and then 0.05. And I'm looking at the stream at the same time, and I see that it's lagging behind. Thank you, Twitch. Okay, so let's bake this. Alright, so now if you take a look, you'll see that there's more details coming into here. I mean, there's everything that we had in the high poly. So I mean, if I didn't know better, I would say they look like rocks. Not the best ones out there, but so just for a little bit of fun, that was to do like a kind of a metal material on this. Like to see how it's distributed. There you go, we got some metal rocks. Not too ecstatic about the seams. Somehow they don't look so great on this one. They look perfectly fine on this one. I don't know what's going on here. Why there's that hard crease in there. Maybe it's from the high poly. Who knows? Okay. So with that being said, let's. What I'll do is I'll go and export textures. So let's put them in. Let's see. And to the stuff here, stream rocks. Alright, so let's export them to here, and I think the document channels, normal and AO, should be what we need to create our detail map. Alright, export this out. And there we go. So we have our AO, our normal. Yeah, see, this is the line I was talking about. I'm not sure where that's coming from. There's a few maps that get exported that are totally useless. You know, in our case, it's the color, the height, the metallic. We don't need those. The one thing that we do need, and I didn't actually export this, so it's you know, my bad. It's the gloss, and we don't really have a gloss for this, so I might have to try and fake it somehow. Okay, now let's jump to Photoshop, where the fun comes in at looking at documentation. And every time I need to do this because I mean, they need to think of an easier, better way to do this, because there's got to be one. I do not want to accept that there isn't a better way to do this detail map. But you know, it's probably just too complicated to change at this point. Okay, let's pull in our documentation here, and I'm gonna put this to the side. I just wanted to bring it up. Detail mapping in CryEngine, and let's do the unified detail mapping, which is their newer thing as far as I know, or maybe not. Let's see, there's a couple of there's two resources here, so there we go. I think this is the one we want, where we have what do you call it, what looks more like the Rise stuff. You know, if you look at the stuff at the end, it's probably where they were doing stuff with Rise. Okay, so pretty much this is what I'm hoping to reach as far as coloring goes, and what that involves is in the detail map we gotta bring all these channels from the or channels and maps that we just baked out and put them into these. So it's a little bit of a headache, to say the least. Okay, so since I only have the normal and the mixed and the AO, I'm gonna go with these. Alright, so let's jump into this. I'm just gonna put this to the side, and we'll take it in steps. So yeah, I think they somehow they bake the gloss from they probably bake it from whatever material they want to use, but since I haven't figured that out yet, we'll just try and create our own. Okay, so apparently what's being called for is on the AO map. Let's make a duplicate of this. So they're calling for well, first of all, I think I might want to make this a little bit more, you know, more intense, because it's not very strong. So let's do it like so. Okay. So they want us to bring down the value of the AO to 128. So let's go into levels again, and then this one here, from what it says, bring it down to 128. Okay, there's that. Okay, now looking at what they have, it looks like the gloss map is pretty much as the albedo, or not the albedo, but the AO. So let's call this AO, and You guys let me know if you have any issues with the stream. On my end, I'm just seeing some flickering, so hopefully you're seeing everything okay. Alright, so let's use this one to make the gloss, and again, like I said, this is going to be kind of messing around with it. So let's call that the gloss. Alright, now the fun part comes in. Let's create our detail. So it's going to be detail, same size, okay. So let's start off with the red channel. So in the red channel we have the AO bake of the sculpt. So let's go into AO and select this, Control C, and in here, and this is something that I hated so much, is pasting into channels, which sometimes does not work as you want to. Let me just move this to the side real quick. For some reason I always have issues with and I figured it. I'm figuring it out after a while, but the first time I do it, I don't know why I can't seem to be figuring it out. Hmm. Oh, this is frustrating. Oh, huh. Okay, now I figured out what was wrong with it. My bad. And I don't think, from what I remember in any of those tutorial videos, they don't mention. I don't think they mentioned this, but you can't have it on an empty layer. Uh, so let's do a fill, and we'll fill it with let's fill it with white here. Oh, come on. There we go. So now let's try and do the copy and pasting. Alright, so we're going into AO, Control All, Control C, and in here we want to paste this in our red channel. There we go. There's our AO bake into the red channel of the normal of the detail map. Now we need the normal map red channel into the green channel of this. So so let's go into, what did we say? Normal. We want the red channel, copy, and we want to put that into the detail map green channel. How did they come up with this? Now we want the gloss map to go into the blue channel. So let's go into gloss map, which, you know, we kind of thought this might work. So we copy this and we place this into the blue channel of our detail map. What's going on? Okay, so this one, if you look at it, it's starting to come to those colors that we were looking for. Alright, so now in the alpha, in our alpha for the detail map, so we'll create an alpha right here. So this one takes, let me turn down the music a little bit. Okay, so now we need to do the alpha, and we got to go to normal and select the green channel, copy, and in our detail we got to paste it into the alpha. So there we go. We are looking pretty much, it's not as strong because my normals were not very strong, probably that's the case, but we are pretty darn close to what this is looking like. So worst case, if we want to get more out of it, let's see if we do a little bit of hue saturation, and so we can play a little bit with this, not too much, but you get my point. Let's see if we do maybe a little levels. That's probably not just gonna make it a little darker, so it won't help with it. So let's go ahead and try this out and see how it looks in the engine. One thing that I've run into, and I'm thinking this might be an issue with the NVIDIA drivers, which they always have issues with their drivers. So I'm gonna have to save this as regular TIFF, which is not you know, ideal by their standards, but you know, it's still gonna put out the same channels and same information. So hopefully it's gonna work for our needs today. Okay, so we'll call this detail, and let's export it to where my directory is here. Let's do assets, textures, or no, assets, and do objects, natural, do string rocks. Alright, so I just created that directory where to save these. And let's call this, we're calling it detail. So let's save it right there. Yeah, whatever. For now, it'll be good. Okay, so let's export our low polys, and what I'll do is I'll keep them as a singular object. You know, we can split them out after that. That's not a big thing. So let's add a material and call this stream rocks. Let's add great. I need to let's actually try and export it as an FBX, and we'll use the FBX importer this time. Okay, so selected objects, let's export it like that, and hope it works. Let's go into CryEngine, and Tools, FBX import, and import static geometry. Alright, so let's import file, and let's see, where were we? Unfortunately, you can't paste things into this, which is extremely obnoxious. So hopefully 5.3 is going to fix all these navigating issues, and we'll see what happens. And Crytek launcher, Crytek right there, assets, objects, natural rocks, and this was called stream, not stream rocks. I thought I had it. Oh, no, my bad. It's right here. Stream rocks. Alright, so there's our rocks. We have a material. Physical, none. I don't have a proxy, so I'll have to be it. Okay, so let's save this as 2rocks.cfg. Save. So that's imported. Great. Let's bring it in and see if we can apply some textures in that detail map, and make it hopefully you know, show details like these guys are doing. All right, let's look for two underscore. There you go, something in here. All right, there's our 2rocks. So what I'll do is I'll actually apply the same material that this guy has, and then we'll change the detail map. Okay, let's look. Let's copy this one from here. Copy, and then we can just grab it. Hopefully, come on. This is so annoying. That's why I sometimes don't really enjoy the FBX importer, because I didn't save the material. So let's go to FBX import, static geometry, and let's open natural stream rocks and material, generate material. That was my little problem there. Alright, so let's call this 2_rocks and save. Alright, there we go. And let me just restart the engine because I think it's having a little bit of a fit. Let's try this again and see if we can get that material for this. No, apparently not. Ah, this is terribly annoying. Let's try importing it again. Alright, let's import. Oh, well, I think that might be my mistake. Hopefully, we'll see. I can't remember if in the FBX exporter, if there was an option. Make sure match other. I was thinking this thing exports the material as well because I was able to see it in there. So there we go. I think that might have done it. So let's save it. Yes, alright. Okay, there we go. I think that might fix our problem. So there's our rocks material. Let's go into this guy and copy it. So what we need is this thing at the end. So we just right click, copy, and then grab this one. And let's paste it right there. I still don't know why that pop-up happens. Very weird. Okay, so that looks terrible, right? Well, let's see if our detail map is going to help with it to not look so bad. Alright, so there's our detail, but this is the detail for the monolith. So let's go in and where do we have our stream rocks? And let's put this detail in. Which apparently makes it look even worse. I don't know why. Oh, let's try something. No, that should be good. I did put it in detail. That is looking very weird. So those are the rocks without the detail map. And what I think it's happening, something to do with the tiling. So if you remember um, with the monoliths, you know, we were only tiling it so much. But I think in here this should be, I don't know if it's 0.5. So as you can see, there's some detail coming through, but I can't figure out why. They don't come through as well as I thought they would. Like, it's weird because it gets applied on this section here, some of that detail that we worked on, as well as a little bit around here. So I'm wondering if I mean, you can see some of them, like this one, has that detail map in there, but yeah, there you go, see? I guess I might have had the bump scale a little too high. So yeah, if you look at this, now you get those details in there. But I guess you have to find a balance, because if they're too strong, you know, you're gonna get these shading issues, and I'm getting them. So yeah, you got to make sure. This is one of the things I haven't tested as far as when you export these. How do you like, kind of from that angle it looks okay. You can see those the high poly details in there, but yeah, I see it even better at this angle. But then again, you know, you get this hard line here, which I can't figure out why it's doing it. Let me try and do do it via CryBlend. See if it's going to be a little bit easier that way. Okay, so I just need to find my RC thing. Okay, where is it? Tools, RC, rc.exe, there we go. Okay, let's do fizz none, and export to game, and that's where we want to put it. Apparently it didn't really like it, so it's what happened. Take a look at that. 2 errors, 2 vertices. Let's try it again. There we go. That time it worked. Yeah, so what I'm thinking that is happening here is some kind of a shading issue. So let's try do something a little different. Let's see if we export this as flat shaded. That is definitely weird. I mean, I think there's a combination between the detail bump scale because you can see the details coming through, but it's weird why they're applied like that. Well, I mean, the FVX importer did the same thing, Oscar. So it's not CryBlend. It's something that probably has to do with my mesh. I'm guessing. they both look identical when it comes to that. So I'm not entirely sure what's happening here. On the other hand, let me try something, and because I'd like to try something out. Yeah, that could also be it. Analyzing some of these monoliths that Crytek did, they actually, all those faces were separate. So um, I'm not sure if that has anything to do with it, but so I'd wish that it all looked like this face here, because this one actually looks pretty darn good. But unfortunately, yeah. See, can we just look at it from this angle and cut out the top? Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on. I mean, it could also be the issue with my detail map, because I can't save it properly. So um, that could very well also be the issue. Ah, come on. Hmm. Yeah, so see, this is what I get when I try to save it as Crytiv. I don't get anything. The little pop-up for Crytiv doesn't work, so oh well, welcome to CryEngine. It is extremely annoying when that happens. Um, so it just keeps, you know, um, it just keeps making this like dinging sound, and it doesn't do anything until I exit out of it. So I've read on some forums that it's an issue with the graphics drivers or whatever. So let me try and open this detail map one more time. Let's try that, Oscar. That will be the last thing. I mean, if it doesn't work, screw it. But is there a value that I need to pass? Yeah, see, the normals are all messed up. And I think it's pretty much due to that detail map. Yeah, yeah, that's that part. I'm not sure what the hell is happening. Yeah, I can see, like, if you look in this preview window, this thing actually looks pretty darn nice. But yeah, I'm not sure exactly what's going on with the normals. Why they're so messed up. Uh, yeah, maybe turn off auto smooth. I don't know if that matters. Also, I mean, the detail is apparently is okay. Even though it looks kind of funky in here, right? It's got this weird color. So I'm kind of bummed out by it because, you know, looking at it from this angle, you know, it kind of looks okay. But yeah, I'll try and figure this out and hopefully have an answer for next week. Um, but um, but that's all I wanted to show. You know, at least we got through the part of making some rocks in Blender and doing that the um, detail map, which seems to be doing its job to some extent. I'll try and also figure out what's going on with Crytiff, why that doesn't work, and You know, it's probably just a graphics driver issue from what I can tell. But thanks so much, guys, for stopping by. Hopefully you got something out of this, be it, you know, a little bit of sculpting from my limited knowledge, or some of the detail portions of it. So again, thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you next week. Take care, everyone.